Hello and welcome to IntentioKnit. Today I am doing my knitting podcast and I'll tell you straight away, it's been a while since I filmed and I have a lot to talk about. I will use timestamps as I always do, so you can check them out, and I'll also link to my Ravelry if there's anything you would like more details on. Let's just get right into it. I have no idea how long this video will be and I'll do a couple of small updates at the end of the video. But first, let's talk about things I have finished, and let's start with knitting. Last we talked, I had just started these socks. This is my third sock pair of 2026. It's these Yarbo Merino Raggi. It's the name. They are a very pretty yellow. Now, I did cast this on as a fingering weight yarn, but I quite quickly figured out that it's not. It's more of a DK weight. So here I had to kind of like fumble the amount of rounds and just sort of improvise a little bit. I think they turned out well, but they were definitely not fingering weight. I have no idea why I thought that, but it worked out. So this is my third pair of socks this year and they're done, and these are for me. The yarn is very soft. I haven't used it before, but I'm excited to wear them now that I have shown them to you. I haven't blocked them though, so sorry about that. Then I have a second pair of socks to show you. This is the fourth pair I have made this year, and if you watched my February yarn low buy wrap-up video, I will link it down below or up here. I did buy this yarn in February. I really just adored the color. I hope it's showing up, not completely. It's kind of like a deep berry red pinkish color. I haven't blocked these either. You'll see this is a theme. I haven't been doing finishing touches. But yeah, it's just a kind of pretty berry colored sock. The yarn for these I did buy in February because I just love the color. I didn't have anything like this. So this is Sunne's Perfect yarn, which for me is a true and tested sock yarn. They are DK weights. And yeah, I bought the yarn in February and I also finished them. And they do need a little blocking before I take a picture. And yeah, there's that. Just a quick pair of socks like I often have on my needles. Then I have a big item that I have been working on since December. I haven't blocked it yet, and I have been very slow with doing those sort of finishing touches on projects so far this year. I have not had a great start to the year, I'll just say that, and I have been prioritizing just keeping my hands busy and continuing on doing projects rather than doing the last final touches. Now I will be very strict with myself. When I finish another project that I'm going to show you soon, I will block 2 projects at the time, and I'm not allowing myself to cast on anything new big before these are done, because I really want this item and the other one into my wardrobe as soon as possible. So that being said, I am talking about the cumulus tee that I made into a sweater. So I will do pictures when this is fully blocked, but you get the idea. The color is a bit darker in real life. It's a very gloomy day today, very overcast, and I do have a ring light on, so I'm sorry about that. But I did the I-cord for the first time ever during this project. It took a long time. If you haven't done the I-cord, be prepared, it takes time. But yeah, I think it came out very nice. It's so light, it only weighs about 264 grams, which is nothing for a sweater. So I'm really looking forward to starting to wear this, so I need to get to blocking it. Last time I think I only had a bit left on an arm and maybe doing the I-cord on the edge on the body and then doing the I-cord edge here. I'm going to link a couple of videos that I found helpful for, you know, doing the I-cord and where to pick up on the edge of the neck part. I'm really happy with this and I'm looking forward to getting it blocked, and starting to wear it. This is my first finished sweater of 2026. Hopefully the first of many, as I'm really prioritizing making my own wardrobe and making clothing items that I can wear all year, or if not all year, then at least also during spring and autumn. A big problem I've had, and I know this is such a luxury problem, right? But a lot of the things that I have knitted before has been wool or mostly wool, and it's been too hot to wear most of the year. So I am prioritizing making projects that I can wear most of the year. That's been really fun. So this yarn is, I will say, this is Sannes Tynn Line. I do like the yarn, but it does split. I think it's a 3-ply yarn and it does split a lot when you work with it. And with a pretty dark color, that is a problem. I have been needing to sometimes go back a bit and, you know, get the thread up again because I have been splitting it. So that's something to be aware of. I think the end result is worth it, but it did mean that for every single stitch I needed to keep my eyes on this project. It wasn't one of those where I can just watch TV and knit at the same time. I can knit without watching if it's something simple, like, you know, doing the full body, but I couldn't do that with this because I would split the thread. So something to keep in mind, but I think it feels lovely and I'm so looking forward to wearing this. So this is my finished project and I am going to block it and take good pictures of it. That's also something I'm working on, being better at. Fully finishing the projects in a timely manner, which I didn't do here, but I'm keeping myself accountable now. That was my 3 finished knitting projects, and yeah, I haven't been filming for a while, so I'll tell you that it's been just over a month since I last filmed. So if you think I have finished or done a lot, it's been a good few weeks. Alright, and then I have one finished crochet project and I'm calling it finished, but we also have some finishing touches to do here. I will try to show you at least a bit of it. And I will not be able to show you the full size of this. This is my solid granny square blanket. It's ended up being 6 grannies width and 10 in length. And I will have to do a picture for you here, and hopefully by the time I upload this video I will have it blocked and finished. So the only thing I have left now, let's start at the beginning. Last time you saw this I had not done the edges and I had not started on joining them. So since last time I have joined everything, and the way I did it meant that there was a lot of new threads that I need to weave in. But you get sort of the idea. And then I have left to block the edges a little bit. I have already blocked the grannies, but I need to block the edges part so that they don't curl up, at least to have a good starting picture. I have a little edge here and you can see it curls a lot, so I do need to block this and weave in the last threads, which is also a finishing touch I haven't done, but I am very happy with how this is looking. It's very colorful and I'm looking so forward to using it here in my little hobby room. And yeah, it's done. It took a lot of yarn. I think it was almost 2 kilos of yarn. I will put the full amount up here. And yeah, I started that project in November and I finished it in February, if you can call it finished. Almost. It's March now. So that is my 4 finished things. 2 big things and 2 small things, and I'm excited to use all of it. I just really need to do the finishing touches now. And then we're not done because I have 4 things that I am currently working on. And since it's been a while since I last filmed, I have done a lot of things. So let's get into it, and I will start with the knitting. And I'll start with the most exciting thing, which is my Olga sweater from IntentioKnit. And I have to say, this is almost done. I considered waiting a couple more days to filming this knitting podcast just to get it fully done, but I decided that I just need to film. Even though I am casting off the last part, I just really needed to film this video and get it up for you. I bought some yarn in February for this project. If you are keeping on with my yarn low buy, I will link the February summary down below, which should be the video that's going up before this one. But yeah, I did buy new yarn for this, which I needed. This is the Olga by IntentioKnit sweater. I most often see it done in 2 colors, but I decided to do it in 1 color. Mostly for the durability for my own part, and I wanted a really pop of color, which you can see here. This is how it's looking. I literally have 2 things left to do, and that is weaving in the ends and finishing off the neck part here. But this has been a very fun project to make. It's one of those where you do top down and you do the back part, the front part, and then you join them and you continue down. So this is the front part, and then I'll show you the back part because I really like the dropped or the shoulder parts here. So this is the shoulder, and I will show you this better when I have blocked it because it's a bit uneven right now. But this is the sweater. I have been working a lot on this, and I have to say this has been working up so fast. The previous sweater I showed you, the Cumulus tea sweater, I spent almost 3 months doing that because I used very thin needles. I think it was 3.5 millimeters, and on this I used 4.5. Now that's not a recommended size, but that's the gauge that I met. I'm very happy with how quick this worked up, how much thicker this yarn is. So the day of filming this, I have not been working on it for a full month yet, and I don't have any sort of like time limits for myself, but I think finishing a sweater in under a month is pretty good to be me. I don't think I've finished the sweater much faster than that. I'll have to think about that, but that's not the point. The point is this pretty sweater. This has been knit in the size small. So I have to say that when you decide to knit this, there is a big positive ease on this sweater. I didn't want it to be super extra big on me, so I decided to go down 1 size from my normal size and then just deal with a little bit more positive ease. I think I have achieved that. I haven't tried it on since I started the neck, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Making this, I have followed the instructions mostly. If you know me at all yet from the videos I've done, you know that I like to sort of take suggestions and then decide, do I want to do that or not? So the one thing I have done differently is I don't finish off the body part until I have finished the arms, because in my experience, if I do the arms fully finished first, then the body will drape better and I will see where it sits. So I just put the body part on a extra thread, I do the arms, and then I continue on the body, which is generally not what the pattern says. The other thing that I actually did change was you are supposed to do a double knit at the arms, the decrease, and you're also supposed to do that at the body part. I decided that I just didn't want to do the hassle. To be quite honest, I didn't see the point in it in the way I wanted this sweater to fit or look, so I just ignored that part and went on to doing the Italian bind off. And I'm very excited to see how that will look when it's all finished and blocked. I don't think I've done the Italian bind off in many years. I don't think it's perfect, but it's looking pretty okay. I have already returned all the extra yarn I bought for this. I have ended up using under 500 grams of yarn. I bought about 700 for it. I have a clean shelf here because of this, which is great. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to finishing this and blocking it. So I will be blocking this sweater and the other sweater at the same time, and I'm not allowing myself to start any new big projects until that is done, because I really want to start wearing these and I'm not allowing myself to wait anymore. I am finishing it, I'm weaving in the ends, and then I am blocking both sweaters, and then I'm also weaving in the ends of the blanket and blocking that. And if that's not already up on my Ravelry before this video goes up, keep me accountable to do it very soon, because it needs to be done, okay? I need to get these into my wardrobe. This has been a super fun and easy project. I don't think there's been any big problems. I might make another one day. I think the black and white stripe version looks beautiful. My only apprehension of doing stripes is often that how will it wash? If you've made this sweater or another sweater in a very dark and a very light color, please let me know how does it wash, because every commercially bought sweater I've had that's been black and white, the white always washes out, it always gets darker, and it just doesn't stay crisp. And while I love the look, I just don't want to spend so many hours making something for it to just keep up a few washes. Now, I don't wash my knitted sweaters a lot. I do air them out and do other things to keep them fresh. But still, if you have done that, please let me know. Does it hold up? Does the stripes still look good? Let me know. I'm really curious. I did warn you that I was going to be chatty today and have a lot to talk about. Then I just started my 5th pair of socks for this year. I have mostly just been knitting on the big sweater, on the Olga sweater, but finishing it up and wanting something to knit while driving, well, you know, my husband drives, I decided to cast on a pair of socks. This is Regia Daydreaming. I think I bought this last year, maybe. It's not from this year at least, so I'm working from my stash. And I'm about to, oh yeah, I just started the heel on this one. Just a pair of socks, which I most of the time have on the go. I'm also planning to start a couple of DK weight socks. Now that I'm freeing up a couple of needles, I have been doing the Olga sweater on 4.5mm and I've been wanting to try DK weight on 4.5. I usually do those on 3.5, but I think I need to up the size a bit. I will link the pattern below. As always, unless I say otherwise, it's the Crazy Sock Lady fingering weight pattern, which is available here on YouTube. And then I have 2 crochet projects to show you that I am currently working on. Both of these are from my stash, which I'm very happy about, because I am doing the stash down challenge for myself this year. My overall goal is to end the year with less yarn in my stash than I started the year off with, and to do that I really need to be working on my stash. And as you can see, I've had a couple of detours and knitting some completely new things, which is a part of my overall goal too, but I also really need to be working on my stash at the same time. So let's get into the first one. So I had 1 sweater amount of stash yarn when I started the year. It is purple drops yarn. I had, I think, about 20 skeins of this. I have some left just out of the viewfinder here. I decided that I wanted to crochet myself a cotton cardigan. I don't have any cotton cardigans anymore. I did have some that I bought in the store, but I just didn't want to have them anymore, so I decluttered them. So right now I have no cotton or, you know, light airy non-winter cardigans. So I decided I could do the purple yarn in cotton for this. The pattern name is the Autumn Brioche cardigan. I am not completely sure how to pronounce the brioche part. I don't have English as my first language, so please excuse that. It is by Hey Carrie on YouTube or Crochet by Carrie. I will link everything below as I usually do. Now, I really like this stitch here, which is I think brioche knitting is a knitting thing, and I think this crochet pattern kind of looks like it. I have never tried brioche knitting, but I am curious. Well, I ran into a new problem, which was my battery overheating because I have been chatting for so long. I will show you the next project and then finish up this video. So I am using Drops Paris. This is from my stash. So this is a sideways project. So this, I think, will be a front panel and this is a back panel. So you can see the pattern here. I think it's meant to imitate the knitting brioche stitch. I think it's very pretty and it's easy to make when you have the hang of it. It's become my new TV project, watching things and just repeating and repeating. I have to say that I think it's a little bit boring and tedious, and because it is a heavy cotton yarn, I can't work on it for too long for not getting myself into too much hand pain. I am working on a 6mm hook. I hope I will actually be using most or at least half of my stash yarn for this. And yeah, I think I am just under halfway of the body part, and then there's the arms. I think this is going to be pretty heavy, but it's going to be more of a heavy but very pretty cardigan. I'm very much looking forward to getting this done. It's not a priority to finishing it as quick as possible. I have other things that I'm working on, and I have a couple things I will be starting on soon when I have blocked and finished the other things first. That's also crochet. So this is kind of a work on every now and then. But I have the first front panel and I am about half on the back part. So that is a bigger crochet project that I am working on. And then we are finally at the last project. I have a lot of fingering weight sock yarn leftovers. I have been knitting a lot of socks the past few years. I did 36 pairs in 2025, and all of that leftover yarn has to go somewhere. I did want to make a lap size blanket for myself for sitting in a chair and reading in the evening or knitting and crocheting, and I actually just decided to start. Now I have to say this has been working pretty well. I have already made over 100 of these little hexagons. I have not completely counted them, but I will show you. Pattern is from Mima Makes. I am using her YouTube tutorial. So this is one little hexagon. It's just 4 rows. I do end all of them with a long tail because you do join them at some point. I am 100 in at this point, and I think I will be at least 200 or something. It's actually time to really just lay them all out. But the main point here is they take about 10 minutes to make and weave in the ends that I do weave in. So they're very quick. I can do 1 or 10 in the morning and then just use up. I have used up a lot of smaller skeins already, and I have actually gone back into my stash and resupplied some new skeins here. You can see there's a lot of color variations here. There's a lot of my older projects. I have a lot of these. It's really quick. I'll just show you. Here's some yarn and here are some hexies. I do this on a 3mm hook. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this lays out, doing a flat lay. Ideally I would have already started to join them, but I did want to have a good bit of color variation made before I started that. And I'm definitely at the point where I could be starting it, and I might have done that before we talk next time. I'll have to see. I have some other bigger projects to finish off. It's not my biggest priority, but at some point I should definitely start to join these so that I don't have to join everything at the end, because I know myself, I don't like to joining everything at the end. It's just not my favorite part. So that is my second crochet in progress. This, as the autumn brioche is not a big priority, as I continue on making socks, I might add more yarn to this, so I am not putting a time limit. This might be done in a couple of months, it might be done at the end of the year, I'm not sure, but I will keep you updated when I have something to update you on. So that was a bit of a long video. As I said, it's been over a month since I last filmed, and I have just been prioritizing knitting and crocheting along. It's been a hard start to the year. You know, sometimes in life things are just a bit heavy, and I haven't been wanting to do the finishing touches, but I am definitely getting to them very soon, and at least before I film the next knitting podcast. So what do you think of my project? Is there anything you want to make? Is there anything you got inspired by? I thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, giving it a like, it means a lot. There's been a couple of you reaching out and telling me about your stash down. I think that's so fun, thank you so much. And as you can see, I am working a bit with new yarn in that I buy for a project, and I'm also working on my shelf and stash yarn. I will say I did find something at the yarn store the other day that has made me realize I need to try amigurumi. I will be honest and say I don't think I will like it, but I'm giving it an honest try. I am starting with a blank sheet. I have never tried it before. I have yarn for it up here that I bought last January, and I have quite a bit of it, so being a part of my stash down year, I really want to use it. So what I found at my local yarn store, it's something that I have never owned before, and that is the, polyfill, I think you call it in English. It's this sort of, squishy fill that you actually fill the amigurumi with. I also do have a lot of leftover yarn bits, but I thought that if I am going to actually try and make it pretty, I should at least have some of this to try it with, to make it really nice and even. So amigurumi video will be coming up. I'm not putting a time limit on myself, but it would be nice to try. I might do a separate video about trying that, and if I like it or not, maybe I really do. But I have the yarn for it, and this was the last piece missing, so I kind of don't have an excuse anymore. I just need to get going on that. One day I will be finishing some other projects that I will prioritize. Maybe I'll just start a video one day and then just continue when I pick it up again. But yeah, do you want an amigurumi test video? If you have any good patterns, let me know. I am a complete amigurumi beginner. I do knit and crochet pretty tight, I think, so I know I need to downsize the needle. That's about what I know. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.